Hi guys, welcome back to another reaction video and thoughts here on our Eyes Your Eyes. I'm ready to watch the last episode, the long episode of season 2 of Made in Abyss, episode 12. But before starting this video, I just want to remind you to subscribe to the channel, click on the notification bell, leave a like to support me, and feel free to join me till the end of Made in Abyss Season 2, plus many other adventures coming on the channel, so stay tuned and keep on watching me. By the way, in the previous episode, we saw that now Faputa understood her mother's real wish, and now we see that Vasukian took Weko away. Let's see what's going to happen to this finale that I can't wait to watch. Are you ready to join me with this? Check it out. Oh my, look! Yeah, because first she has to defeat these and then she can go to maybe rescue Echo. I like that Faputa now is totally white. I mean, yeah. No, it's time to go away from darkness. No! Oh, come on, Faputa. It's like the incinerator, I told you! This is before that everything happened, of course. Oh, that was Gabu? No. Is it Gabu or some other interference unit? Oh, look! Yeah, I think that's Gabu. Yeah. As? Oh. So she already destroyed many other interference units. Because I think that she wants to stay next to you anyway. I mean, if you sleep there, it means that she feels sure that you're not an enemy. So she was starting a relationship with Gabo. Yeah. Ah. She also could learn, not just him. See? The only thing she knew was anger. In fact, the hoshi in Japanese it means I wish, I desire. Oh, here we go. Yeah. And in fact, the rag played that great role. Ah, no, so that was Gabo to give her that name? That's right, so that was Gabo to give her this identity, let's say. Yes. No, you were amazing because you protected her throughout all that time. Yes, that moment in which she found them. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Exactly. Because even her mom wanted to go down the abyss as an adventure. She wanted to take the Ganja group, so. Yes, I love Nanachi too. No, you're misunderstanding. Ah, okay, now we understand that mark on Nanachi. Okay. Mm-hmm. See, Faputa was propositive. I mean, she was trying to help Prushka too. Mm-hmm. Yes. Uh, yeah, she's too embarrassed. Yes. No, it's because she loves Reg. That's why. But Gabo was like a friend more than a guardian, I guess. Yeah, look. But there are two, I mean, not one, so it's unfair. Oh, Masa, look, I really hope that she's not going to disappear too by becoming a value and stuff like that because I wanted the Masa to join too, but she can't. Ah, okay. No, they are all rescued. Yeah. Oh, he woke up, yo. No, you did all your best. Exactly, because all of you were waiting for this moment. Ah, that's Belaf. No, Vasukian. Vasukian. He's there. I mean, oh. No, it's the reality, I guess. This could be true too, but who you started. Good job, Reg, I agree. No, please. Yes, but be careful what you say. Okay, but you will not be the victim for all of them, eh? Remember Nanachi's words. Uh, exactly. That's true because she lost it. Yes, that's why she wants to ask you that. We, you, let's say, no, we. Hmm. Exactly. But you will still be you human anyway, I guess. Oh, okay. That she has to join. I told you something more frightened. Uh, wow, so Vasukian disappeared like that. I mean, it's over. Oh, wow. I thought something else, sincerely. I think that Vasukian's knowledge was still unknown by all of them. I mean, if Vasukian could have just tell them some other things, but I think that he didn't on purpose because they have to discover the rest of the things by themselves. She changed actually. I mean, Faputa. That's right. Maybe he's saying have a safe trip or something. Exactly, because Weko is with the rest of the body of Vasukian, let's say. Uh, exactly at the market at that time. Thank you, Mugi. But now it means we can discover what's written inside over there. Uh, oh, okay. Oh, hmm. Let's go. Weko, where are you now? I think Vasukian took her there on purpose. Nice question. Why she's attached to her so much? But see how the light is surrounding Rico, huh? Yes, to Ma-san too. And to you too, because she released you. Yeah. Okay. That's the first time she met them, right? I mean, she also had the wish to join this adventure, so she can't regret that. Because it's thanks to that that she could meet Irumyui. It's all connected. Your actions are creating consequences. So I think she will never regret the choice she made. Because anyway, they spent the time together, they made lots of adventures together, so it's a time not wasted. Exactly, exactly. What? Oh, yeah, because if she goes outside, she's going to disappear too. Oh, no! Oh, no, Echo! Oh, no, because, yeah, she's still human. So she's turning into a hollow too. Exactly. Yeah, I forgot about that for a second. Oh my. Yeah, she really is. It's like Belaf. I mean, they really were sorry. Oh, they came. Okay, yes, they reached her. They don't want her to suffer the same. And now you can't protect her. Oh no, look! Oh my. At least before going, she did her best to save her. Oh no. Loss of humanity. But does this mean that even Rico is going to lose her humanity because she is a human child too? No, take her with you. Yeah, she still think. Take her with you. Oh. Let's see how they can defeat these creatures too. I mean, before helping her and join. Wow. Oh, see how she's changing. Oh. Eh. Oh. Ho, ho. Hmm. Be careful. Yeah. See, now it's working. I mean, Now Prushka decided that it's something good to do because we have to contrast these creatures that... Huh? Oh no! Oh no 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 no! What's wrong now? Oh my, the more she's using that, the more she's losing her energy. Oh my, let's see. Whoa! And one, it's over. I mean, more or less. Okay, they will give you other. Exactly. Mm-hmm. They have to sacrifice. I told you that. They accepted because they understood. And at the same time, they can become a part of the value. So they become immortal anyway because they are inside of Aputa. So, eh, typical. But if you do that, exactly. Let's see what Reg will do this time because he doesn't want to use the incinerator. So, whoa! Oh my! What about Majikada? I mean, she's remembering everything that happened to them too. This is so cruel, my. Because there are all these mixed feelings when she's eating them, and she knows that they ate her mom, but her mom was pleased to help them. I mean, yeah, be careful, yo. I've never expected this. I mean, Rico is in danger right now. Of course. Uh, exactly. Even the dreams, let's say. And even Faputa had that sort of homesickness because of Reg when he departed, so. Whoa. Uh, I think she loved you too. It's all thanks to Irumyui that we are here now. I mean, Faputa has a chance. No, you have to join us, Faputa. It's not over. Yeah. Oh, yes. Masan. Oh, okay. Oh, so Masan can go? Uh-huh, yeah. No, it's not over, Faputa. No. Yes! It's not over. He made a promise. He will keep that promise. And Ma-san can come. No, Rico. Oh, please. Oh, no, F way. Thank you, Majikaja. Oh, here it is. It's going to Faputa. Okay. So she can live longer. She can regain energy. Yes. I mean, she's immortal, but. Wow, it's like as if Majikaja possessed her. Yeah. At the end of the day, they all contributed to the end of Hiromiuri. Because if Hiromiuri was not over, things would have gone worse and worse and would have stayed the same. The changes are these, actually. Eh? Eh? Ah, eh? No! No, even Masan went! Oh, no! Oh no, even Masan was taken away. I mean, was contributing, right? Oh no, Ma-san, I thought that he or she would have joined. Because Paputa said that she could go outside the village, so. Oh no, Ma-san. And now the village doesn't exist anymore, so Hiromiui is gone. I think she also wants to be part of her. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. That's a way to let them be there alive still. Uh, she knows. Oh, yes. Yes. And the eyes are the same. Exactly. Not in the same way as you imagine. But Faputa is her somehow. So, oh yes, this is true. This is true. No, because she was still a human. She was still alive. Oh my. Yeah. Oh no. Oh no, she's gone. Oh no. No, in fact, Because you are your mother too, so you feel sad. I mean, you're a creature of your coming from your mom, so and you have all the memories of all the others. Oh, my mouth. We always have to cry. Weko. She needs to stay here, yeah. That's right. What's Nima? Yes. Yes! Say yes! It's part of the promise. No, maybe he will irrigate his memory one day. That's part of the promise. He will. I think he will. No. Oh! Oh! Exactly. Oh! Even if he doesn't remember, he has this instinct that is the same, so go, please. Yeah. Oh! Yeah. She would have said that. No! Ah, okay, you will go with them. I thought that she wanted to go. No! Why? Ah, okay, no, please come, eh? Join us. No. Yes! Yes! That was Irumyui. Yeah. Yes. To pitch darkness. I mean, let's go. Whoa! That's the light in darkness. Wow! Finally, this second season is finished. And before even starting saying my thoughts about it, and I think that they will be quite a lot because the episode was doubled, I wanted to thank the author of this story, I wanted to thank the soundtrack, the music for this season. And I wanted to thank all the people who are starting Made in Abyss. I mean, they are starting watching Made in Abyss more and more. And I'm so happy for that because this story was a little bit unknown or not so famous as much as many others, but recommend you, I wanted to tell you, please watch it, because even if it's cruel, even if sometimes you'll cry, it well deserves. And I think that this can become one of your favorite stories as much as for what happened to me, because Made in Abyss is in my favorite list of favorite stories. So please check it out. I know that sometimes you don't want to face many subjects that could be too intense or too violent, but I think that sometimes we needed to step into darkness to be more ourselves and to finally understand what we are. And this is the main subject of this second season. But I think that I will go step by step to analyze everything that I saw in this episode, long episode, and even the final purpose of the author, because I think that here now more than ever we understand the meaning of the abyss. We understand why the author created this story and what's the message of it. So let's start. At the beginning of the episode, we understand Faputa and Gabu's relationship more than before. I think that it's thanks to this episode that you understand why Faputa cried so hard by losing him. Not just because he was her guardian, but I think that there was something deeper related to both of them. And you see, even in this case, that even if Faputa and Gabu were two different things, because one was a hollow, or the princess of all hollows, and on the other side there was a mechanical being, I mean a robotic being, right? So they are two different things, but anyway, in the abyss you have the possibility to meet two different things, or to get in touch with something unknown to you, something that detaches deeply from what you are, and it doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't matter the diversity, the way in which you can connect yourself to these other being and find something in common that you can have with it. It's marvelous. It's something that can happen even in our real world when different ethnicities or different people from different cultures are getting in touch, and they can find something else that is in common, that makes you understand that that connection, that relationship was not meaningless, and it had a great purpose, and it happened for a reason, right? So I think that even Gabu had a great meaning for Faputa's life. I think that it was even a matter of destiny, because if Faputa didn't meet Gabu, probably she wouldn't have become what she was before meeting Reg. She would have not understand the diversity between the two of them. And she didn't even understand probably the language, the way to speak, the way to learn many other things. So Gabu was like a sort of a teacher at the beginning, because by interacting with Faputa, he gave her the ability to speak, the ability to learn new things, the ability to understand new meanings, to develop herself anyway, because when she was born, she was completely alone, left aside alone by the other villagers. Irumyuui was not able to give her a complete knowledge, a complete comprehension of all things. It's like, oh yeah, when you give birth to a child, that child is not perfect, that child is still at the beginning of his journey, so the mother needs to train the baby, or needs to educate the baby to become better and better year after year, right? And let's say that Irumyuui couldn't do this because of her condition, because of her appearance, because of what she became, right? So let's say that for Faputa, Gabu was not just a guardian, not just a friend, not just a being that was there to console her or to help her in the most important moments of her existence, but he was like a sort of a father figure, because I could see that Gabu was giving her her name, and in the previous episodes I thought that yeah, that was Reg, because Reg was talking about the meaning of a Faputa, but in this episode you understand that Gabu was giving her that name, and she was really grateful of that name because she really liked it. And at the same time, you see that he is teaching her lots of things. And she can become better than before. So it's a sort of teaching, but it's also like when you're moving your first steps into the world, right? So I consider Gabu a really essential character and a really essential presence for Faputa's existence. And that's why, yeah, you see how Faputa cries so hard, because it's like as if Faputa, immediately after what happened, she finds herself lonely once again without the most important presence of her life. And of course, she feels sad. She feels as if she is abandoned. She has this homesick feeling that is developed throughout the entire episode and well described. That you can understand why Faputa is so insecure, why Faputa needs comprehension, needs affection, needs someone that she can trust for real. And that's why Reg, for example, was one of these people, was the one she could trust the most, but then we know that she felt betrayed because he left, because he doesn't remember. So she has these homesick feelings, because every time she was getting in touch with Gabu, every time she was getting in touch with Reg, she felt as if she was at home. And when these two are disappearing in front of her eyes, she feels abandoned. She feels that she doesn't have a place to belong to anymore. So she was not so different from Irumyuui, but later I'm going to tell you the things that she has in common with her mom anyway. And you also understand that if that day Faputa didn't check that area, that mysterious area of value that was there in the Golden City, she would have not have the chance to meet Gabu. So I think that in Made in Abyss there is a recurrent theme that is the way in which your actions correspond to the consequences, correspond to the other steps of your life coming next. And this is quite true, because if she was not able to meet Gabu, she was not even able to contact the villagers somehow, because, okay, she couldn't enter the membrane, but he could, right? By being an interference unit, he was able to do that. And anyway, later, she was not able to meet Reg too. When Gabu was in a difficult situation, she was not able to wait for Reg. She was not able to meet Reg once again. She was not able to proceed with her journey anyway. So, as you can see, when we meet someone, it's not because it's a coincidence that in our life we meet this person, yeah, but it's not something important. Not at all. Everyone we meet in our life has a purpose for us to grow. And I think that Gabu had the same importance for her. I really liked even the way in which she was approaching to him at first, because she didn't know how to interact with him, so she was having like a sort of animal attitude to mark the territory or to explore the unknown, and by being fascinated by that, she wanted to make Gabu become one of her property without even asking permission. I mean, she was like an animal. Okay, you are mine now, and you don't even have to object to that, right? I really liked that moment, because Gabu didn't understand her, and she didn't understand him, but anyway, there was a sort of mysterious language, something that people can't express into words. It's like when sometimes people say, oh, look, without even talking, she or he could understand what I was thinking just by looking into my eyes. That's the same thing. No matter the fact that they couldn't understand each other, at that time they found a way to interact. They found a way to understand themselves. And that's really nice. Even if it was like the first step as an animal instinct, then that instinct could be comprehended thanks to words, because those words were learned and those words were understood and conveyed. So I definitely liked these first time in which they met. Even this marking the territory makes you understand that Faputa at the beginning doesn't trust Gabu. She is reluctant to get in touch with it, but as soon as Gabu is talking, she marks the territory, but it's a sort of way of trusting others. Faputa has this thing that she has in common with Irumyuui, that is the fact that she doesn't trust others so easily. She's really shy and she doesn't want to interact if she's not sure that everything will be fine. And I think that even in this case, when she met Gabu at first, she was not sure of the consequences and she was not sure to trust him. But later, things were changing because she saw that Gabu didn't even have the intention to harm her, and he already studied about her based on what the other interference units were telling him about her. He was not seeing her as something to be harmed or something to get rid of. So I think that even this thing, the fact that she saw that Gabu was not attacking her, that was a way to trust him little by little. And then, as I was telling you, it was a way to understand the unknown, because Faputa, I think, even if she met other interference units before and she attacked them and she was destroying them, this time it was different. She didn't see Gabu attacking her, so this unknown can be explored, can be understood more. And then another thing that I noticed is that Gabu, when he is awakened and he's talking to Faputa, he is surrounded by grass. There are even little butterflies flying around, and this is a good sign. I mean, he was not surrounded by blood or by something that you can understand that is negative or dangerous to approach to. I mean, he was having grass around him, and this reminds you something positive, something peaceful, something that you can trust and not be afraid of. I had that feeling also because there was not just the grass, but he was having like a sort of light surrounding him. And yeah, it was like as if Faputa finally, by being unconscious about this, found her place in the most dangerous place, that is the Golden City. But I think that even this way to call it the Golden City has a great meaning, and it's described at the end of the episode. And wow, look guys, I felt so emotional like never before because of the meaning of what the author wants to reach, right? And yeah, as much as I was telling you, Gabu is even giving Faputa her name. So it's like as if they belong to each other, and this bond is created and developed the more they spent time together. So this was really awesome. Let's say that Faputa has always had a mom, right, Irumyuui, but she couldn't get in touch with her, and that's why I think that she even developed this homesickness that is prevailing throughout this adventure and throughout her existence, but didn't have a male figure. So that's why I'm saying that Gabu can be her male figure, the father that she has never had. Then we see that throughout the time they spent together, Gabu is able to teach her. I think that that's really nice because he's also saying that he's always curious, that he needs to learn, that he needs to understand new things, and he also wants to know more about her power, he wants to know about her origins, etc, etc. So it's a way in which the two of them can exchange what they know, and they can grow it's a paradox because a machine actually can't grow as much as a human being or something that derives from a human being or a creature, whatever. But even robotic machines can grow as soon as you input them lots of data, lots of new things that they don't know, right? It's their own way to grow, let's say. So there was this exchange of information that could help both of them. And in fact, Faputa learned so many things from him. She learned new words, she knew the meaning of them, and in fact, these can be reconducted to the drawing that Faputa made at that time when she was stealing Prushka. Now we understand who gave her this info, that is Gabu, and the way in which he was making her understand that there is a principal thing that is called she, that is this first stage of value, let's say, and all the steps in order to reach Haku, that is the most valuable thing, the highest definition of what a value is, the personification of the soul, the way in which a soul is represented. And yeah, we know this beginning and end, right? This contrast that is necessary, and everything that is even in the middle makes a difference and is really important too. But it's thanks to Gabu that little by little Faputa is learning and is digging inside herself, and she wanted to understand more about her duty and what was that. Even if later we understand that what she thought that was her duty or what she thought that her mission was something else, was a mistake, right? But it was already a starting point because she could give a definition to everything she could see later, like for example Nanachi and Enrico. So I think that all these instruments that were used by him to give it to her was simply great because she could give definition to things, and everything was not unknown as much as before. In fact, even when Gabo is saying, what's your name? Did your mom gave you a name? And she says, no, she couldn't because now she can't even speak, so I don't have a name. So as you can see, little by little, by knowing who she is, by knowing other things that she doesn't know, she's exploring the unknown, and the more she's learning, the more she wants to learn. So as you can see, all these procedure can help Faputa to reach more what she is, to reach other new details, to reach other new info that previously were called the unknown. And if we wanted to see Gabo as a friend, anyway, is an important piece of her heart, because while nobody was there listening to her or to get in touch with her without being threatening or something, he was staying there. And let's say that I don't know if I have to define him as a guardian or as a best friend or as a father, but let's say that if I have to tell you honestly my opinion, Gabo can be all of these to Faputa. And I think that it was really beautiful to see even those scenes in which they are together, or when Faputa is silent and he keeps talking, or when you see them from the backside, that they look in front of them as if yeah, they are soulmates, even if it's strange to say, but they belong to each other. And even in this case, you don't need specific definitions, don't you think? I mean, sometimes we are desperate because we need to give to things a definition, a word that can describe all the things we see. But there are times, like feelings, in which it's really hard to put a tag, to put a name, to put a definition to them, right? So that's why I think that Gabo is the same. It's someone really important to Faputa, but it's hard to give him a definition of what he is to her. And that's already enough. It's really good as it is. We don't need a definition. We just know that for Faputa, he was a way to change. And he was a really important thing to her. And then, yes, we go ahead because we connect with the drawing that Faputa was making when she finally met Riko, Nanachi, and Reg, and also Prushka, of course. When she is seeing Riko, she understands, as much as I was telling you in the previous episodes, that that's a Haku for Reg, and that's why she's putting that mark on her. While Nanachi is considered as a she, that means this beginning of a value, this initial value that is super important because it's like as if Nanachi represents the purpose, because the initial value is something that is the beginning, right? But at the same time, it's not the ultimate value, because this initial value needs to approach to something else in order to become or to reach the ultimate value. And let's say that in this group that we have of our friends Riko, Nanachi, and Reg, they are all of these values. I mean, we have the initial value that is Nanachi, we have a Haku that is Riko, that is the ultimate value, we have a Reg that is the interference unit. So you understand that it's a great group because it embodies all these main definitions that Gabu was telling to Faputa. So that's why even for Faputa, it was something really amazing to see that there was other valuable things happening to her even after Gabu. Even the way in which she's approaching Reg and she's saying, why you didn't call me, why you don't remember, don't you remember about me, you came back but you were not searching for me, what's the point of that? I mean, this insecurity that she has because of course Reg is not that Reg of before to her. And then she's also taking a step to Nanachi because she sees that Nanachi is really fluffy and she really likes that, and she's smelling really good because probably she can also smell that she felt lots of pain throughout her existence, so probably there are things in common with her. And yeah, another thing is when she's getting in touch with Riko, the first thing that she's saying, rather than understanding that that's a Haku, is that she's saying, she seems like my mom. Wow, what does that mean? Does this mean that even Riko is one of her Haku? I mean, Faputa's Haku, as much as Irumyuui was her Haku, her first Haku, I guess. Or does she understand that Riko will play a great role in her life because by becoming probably her new Haku, she can start being somebody else? But anyway, the way in which she feels comfortable next to Riko because she resembles her mom. Maybe it's also because Riko represents affection, represents opportunity, represents love. That's why I think that she could smell that Riko can have something good inside her heart, and she can spread love, positivity. And let's say maybe she was even attracted by her in that moment. Because it was the first time for her to see a human child there. This can create in her a strange feeling, a mysterious feeling, because she's saying, oh, that's a human child, but then she says, oh, she smells like mom. So there is this contrast of ideas inside Faputa's mind that she doesn't even understand what to think about her. But later she's saying, even if she's a little bit different from mom. So anyway, Riko is not Irumyuui, but maybe she can have some characteristics that can take her to her mom anyway. Or can she resemble her mom because even Riko has a wish and she's desperately going ahead in order to fulfill it? We know that Riko will never give up about her dreams and she will always be there trying to reach it, no matter if she's by herself or not. But in the case of Riko, the more we are, the better it is, right? So I think that she can find her mom inside of Riko also because of all these characteristics. And then she's even getting Prushka, she's stealing Prushka, but we understand that what Faputa tries to do is just to help them, actually. Even when she's stealing the hair of Nanachi and the hair of Riko, what she really wanted to do was to make a sort of a spell or something to avoid some beasts to go next to them. I found that as a protection, as a will of Faputa to be helpful, as much as Irumyui wanted to be helpful always. For her fellows. She even sacrificed herself for their sake. That's something that you can still find in Faputa too. She wants to help them as much as she wants to help Prushka to shine, to be modified and to be beautified, as Gabo is saying, because she needs to have the possibility to let her voice be heard by others. I think that at the end of the day, Faputa is really generous, no matter the atrocities that she believes her mom felt, and no matter the duty she thinks that she has, that means to avenge her mom, to destroy her, to let her be free, etc., etc. She has a heavy burden to carry, but at the same time, she doesn't want to forget her generosity and her kindness towards others. Maybe also for the fact that Reg was there, and we know how Faputa loves Reg. So maybe by doing all these favors, she wanted to be acknowledged by Reg, or she wanted that Reg would have said, "Oh, Faputa, you made something good, you made something great, I love you more than before," and all these things. So sometimes, most of the times, we really want the appreciation of others, and that's why we are struggling sometimes in our life to do all good things, to shine in front of the people we love, because we want to receive some appreciate words that can make us feel better. And I think that Faputa wanted the same thing. That's why she was rushing, asking Gabo's help to help Prushka, and at the same time she was leaving some details, some signs, because maybe she thought by leaving those signs, Reg knows about all these things, so he will remember about me and he will immediately think about me. So he will know that I'm here. But later she discovered that Reg doesn't remember, so it was a complete disillusion, and she felt betrayed, she felt abandoned, she felt as if she was not belonging to anything anymore. I think that all these mental state inside of Faputa created a lot of confusion, but all this confusion was finally erased in this episode, and I think that all the things that happened throughout it could help Faputa to understand her real meaning and what's her real purpose in this journey in the abyss. And then even when Gabo is saying, look, instead of leave them these info like that, or instead of making these things to help them like these, why don't you get closer to them? Why you don't talk to them? And you understand how Faputa is shy and she's so insecure, because she's even blushing and she's saying, no, what are you saying? I mean, I don't want too many eyes on me. It's like as if she's afraid that nobody can recognize her, nobody can remember her. By knowing this, she would feel pain, and that's what she doesn't want, right? Faputa demonstrated more than ever how she resembles Irumyui, because at that time when Irumyui was alive, she also wanted to be helpful and to get all the Genja group throughout the abyss. She was even shy to communicate with Ueko at the beginning, because she didn't want to create this special bond, also because she was afraid to lose her somehow and to develop these homesick feelings. And that's what's happening to Faputa too, because she tried her best to create a bond with Reg, even if she was not sure that a separation could have created something good, or that he could have remembered, and in fact he doesn't. So she's also feeling that homesickness, right? But she wants to help. So that makes you understand that she's not so cruel and violent as she should be in front of others. It's a defense. It's a way to defend herself and to protect herself, because except for Gabo, nobody else could have trusted her, and nobody else wouldn't go next to her without harming her, because of the fear of the unknown. Gabu made that difference. No matter the fact that Faputa was different, he wanted to learn more about her instead of attacking her because she was something unknown. Another thing that we discover in this episode is that all the Hollows were waiting for this change. I told you this many other times in the previous episodes, but I think that here Mugi, for example, was describing her feelings for the first time in the most amazing way. I have to tell you that I really like Mugi as a character. I think that she is the rational character, the one who understood all the things that have happened and why she was really selfish to believe that by eating Irumyui she could have survived and she could have had a longer life without being injured or without being attacked by the village or by the external part of the abyss. When you wanted to survive and you expect to do something in order to save yourself, but then you recognize that what you did was to sacrifice somebody else for your sake and you feel guilty. So at the same time, by knowing this, you're still waiting the change. You're still waiting the moment in which someone is going to release you from the cage you yourself created. Because when they wanted you to survive by eating Irumyui, they didn't even imagine that later that village that Irumyui created was a cage. And was a cage because Irumyui was homesick. She was afraid that after she helped them, she could have being abandoned, and that's why this village was created, because by having all these hollows inside her, that was a way of saying, no, you can't go anywhere, and this is because of my selfishness, but at the same time because I am so afraid that you are going to forget me. So let's say that Mugi and all the others found themselves later in a cage because it was the other side of the coin. I wanted to survive, but at the same time, I'm stuck here and I can't go even outside this place, otherwise I'm going to disappear. So they were waiting for someone coming that could change everything. And you know, when decades are passing and you don't see the difference, you are giving up. Even if the hope is still there, you are saying, okay, I just have to give up on this. I just go on living like this, because even if I still have hope that something can change, on the other side of myself, my consciousness is telling me that maybe I'm just dreaming too much and maybe this is what I've deserved after doing what I did. All these characters, Majikaja, Mugi, Masan, all the other Hollows, even Vasukian, I mean the three sages, were waiting at the same thing. They were understanding their mistakes, but they were not losing the hope that someone was coming sooner or later to change things, because guys, in our life, everything changes. Nothing can stay still the same. And that's why you, by knowing this, are hoping that these changes coming. It doesn't matter if it takes years or just 1 minute, but definitely it's like as if your consciousness is already anticipating you. Look, anyway, things will change. You just have to handle time. By knowing that it takes time, it can be cruel. It can be like a cage. It can consume yourself. But by knowing these things, by knowing that you also changed through the abyss, it makes you understand that things will change and someone will come to release you no matter what. So I really like the characters like them, because they were super essential for this second season to let you understand that sometimes we want the best for us, but when we want the best for us, we are renouncing about other things. We are taking something away from others because of our sake, because of our selfishness, because we matter the most. And this can have a counter effect, and that's what's happened to Hollows. And then, after Riko, Reg, Nanachi, they were rescued by these Hollows, and there was this parenthesis of Mugi explaining what they were waiting for, we reach Vasukian. Look, I thought that Vasukian's role in this last episode was lasting longer. I mean, as a presence, as a character. But here we see his end. And I think that what he is saying right now in this part of the episode is simply amazing. It has all the meaning that we needed to know in order to go ahead with the Abyss. And that's why I was always thinking that Vasukian was hiding part of his great knowledge. He didn't want to spread it to others, not just because of a matter of selfishness or because he preferred to be better than others, but because at this point he wants that even others are creating their own experiences without being influenced by what he knows or what he wanted to do. Each individual has its own way to experience life in a different way, right? So by knowing this, if I'm telling you already what's happening later, or if I am announcing you what it probably might happen, then your mind is already influenced and you already know what to expect, right? But if you don't know these things and you're jumping right into this adventure by your own strength, by your own capability, by your own intentions, without knowing what's going to happen, I think that that's really better. It's like as if you know things with a spoiler and you know things without the spoilers. To put it simply, to me, it's the same thing, and that's why I appreciated what Vasukian did, because instead of explaining them everything that might happen later, even if he just anticipated these with a few words, but on the other side, he just wants that, as much as he did with the Genja group, they now are going to experience their journey and they are going to face something they don't know, because even the reaction in front of what you don't know matters. If you know things already, your reaction is not as spontaneous as much as it should be when you don't know things. So I really think that Vasukian knew many other things, but he prefers not to tell them all of them, and I appreciated this for real. He didn't want to contaminate their journey, their path, and this is really amazing. I think that by making a step back, as an old generation, you let the new generations feel free to have their experiences and just a step aside, because you already got the chance to live your experience, and at that time nobody was there telling you anything, so he is just repeating the same things with this team now. By the way, Nanachi is asking him what was his real intention, and at that time Vasukian is stopping Nanachi, is saying, no, Nanachi, what are you saying? I just wanted to ask Riko one thing. Also because he is also saying that he didn't want to take a responsibility of everything that happened so far, because yes, Vasukian took the Genja group to that level of the Abyss, to the 6th layer, right? To the Golden City. But at the same time, I think that he is partially right, and I told you this even in previous episodes, when he's saying it was not just because of himself. I mean, it's also because of the decisions of all the others. Sometimes we are condemning others to have taken us to a specific stage, to a specific mood, because we think that the culprit is just that person that is taking us to that point. I don't really believe so. Sometimes we are reaching that level because it was our decision, because we decided to follow that person throughout that path, right? So that's what Vasukian is saying. Yes, I might have been guilty because I did what I did, but at the same time, it was their intention to do the rest. It was their intention to follow me throughout the Abyss. It was their intention to eat Irumiui's children and even part of Irumui. I mean, they decided they could have died instead and not give me the responsibility of everything that happened. In this case, I agree with him. I can't say that he's wrong, because you have your free will. And when you decide one thing, you can't condemn others because of your decisions. Later, he's asking Riko if she had fun, if she was happy to be where she was. And I think that he was asking this question to understand or to confirm to himself that he was not the only one who had these guts to start an adventure, to go beyond his limits, and to try his best to know things that he didn't know before. And Riko actually is explaining what he was expecting from her. I mean, she's saying that she had fun, that she was really happy to be there and to have met all of them and to discover something that she didn't know before, because if she stayed on the surface of the abyss, she couldn't even imagine, or she couldn't even touch with her hands places that she couldn't even know. In the case, she wouldn't have been in the abyss. And I think that even in this case, I agree with Vasukian, because when you are afraid of the unknown, and this is something that I told you even in the previous episode, you are afraid because you don't know. And you always prefer to stay in your comfort zone, surrounded by the things you know, surrounded by the things you can see and you can judge from the beginning. But it's also really amazing to explore ourselves by getting in touch with the things we don't know, by the things we are afraid of, because it's just by facing them that you can handle them, that you can surpass your fears, and you can go ahead, you can go beyond your limits. So what Riko did was the right choice. She was right when she decided to explore the abyss. She was right when she knew the risks, but she didn't care, and she was enthusiastic. If this helped her to reach her goal, and if this helped her to develop herself by becoming more mature about the way to survive, by knowing other things, by getting in touch with the new creatures, by not making discriminations, I mean, by modifying what she is. It's like when Prushka was modified to have a voice to be heard, right? In this case, even if this journey of the abyss is modifying Riko and is modifying all of them. So I really believe that Vasukian was right with this question, as much as Riko was right with that answer, because she was confirming to Vasukian that he was not crazy, that there are people like him who like to explore, who like to know. Because when you are improving your knowledge about what's surrounding you, you feel almighty, you feel, as if I discovered some things that other people couldn't, and this gives you power, unlimited power, until other people are discovering the same thing. But then in that case, Vasukian wanted to discover more. So as you can see, this way to be thirsty, because you needed to drink knowledge, you needed to know, you needed to explore more. At the same time, I think that Reg and Nanachi, while they were listening to their dialogue, they were afraid, because, especially Nanachi, because she promised Belaf that she would have never let Vasukian repeat the same mistake with Riko. And I understand her fear, because I was also feeling that during the reaction. I was saying, be careful, Riko, what does he want to do? And in fact, Nanachi is asking him, what's your final goal? What's the final purpose that you have always wanted to reach? And in that case, Vasukian is stopping. He is stopping Nanachi, and he's saying, oh, come on, Nanachi, I know I can sense Belaf now inside of you. So I think that before answering, he had definitely to be sure that Belaf was inside Nanachi, because if Belaf was inside Nanachi or through Nanachi right now, he couldn't answer, because Nanachi was already warned by Belaf that Vasukian had that intention. So I think that Vasukian was really cautious to answer to that question. Another thing that is interesting while they are talking to Bazukyan is that Riko is saying that yes, she had that compass at the beginning of the adventure, do you know? But then, of course, she lost it, do you remember? And now there is this other important question to ask ourselves, because she's saying, who knows who's going to find that compass, and at the same time, thanks to that compass, they can also, these people who are finding the compass, can also start the adventure. Okay, I wanted to open a bracket about this. Does this mean that we can also have a sequel of Made in Abyss? I mean, what if after Riko's team finishes this adventure, somebody else can start it once again? Because that compass, yeah, now I have this dilemma in my mind, because I was not thinking about that compass at all, but now they were giving us this hint, let's say, that until that compass is not found still, or until other people are starting another journey, this Made in Abyss thing, will not stop going ahead. I really want to know who's getting that compass, guys. It can be one of the Riko's friends, one of them that is finding this compass, and maybe they are saying, look, Riko and Reg went down the abyss. What about us? Should we try to go too? Or was it found by someone else that was waiting for a change, that was waiting and hope for something in the abyss that was about to be completely different? Look, when she stole it, that compass went down. Maybe someone else that is in the lower layers of the abyss, starting from the surface, of course. But wow, this is another mystery, yeah. And you also understand that Riko is not so important as she might be, because we don't know who's going to grab that compass. Maybe someone with another Haku, with another duty that is even more important than Riko's. See? From these things you understand that not just the characters we know can be important, but even someone else coming later, someone that can affect the abyss in another way, because Riko had her own intentions and this great power that we discover even at the end of the episode, this duty that she has that other people can't have. Okay, but what about the person who's going to find the compass? Maybe he or she can have another duty and can explore the abyss in a different way, can contribute to change the abyss in another way. Wow, if they make a sequel, guys, I wanted to follow it for sure, because the abyss is still unknown until is solved, completely solved. And in order to complete it fully, I think we need that all people go through the abyss, because the experiences are all different. So this abyss is infinite also because of that. Wow, I love these things. Sorry, by going back to what I was telling you before regarding Bazukyan and that question that Nanachi is asking, after Bazukyan knows that Belaf was partnering with Nanachi, he is explaining what they really wanted to become. That means something beyond human. To lose their humanity and reach something almighty, something that was, yes, beyond humanity. But when he's explaining something like this, they are showing us Reg. Why? I don't think it's a coincidence, guys. I think that even Reg wanted the same thing, but he doesn't remember. Because even Reg, he descended the abyss at the beginning because he was part of the village of Irumyui. This is something that until it's confirmed the contrary, nobody can take it away from my mind. And by not remembering, we don't know what his initial mission was. And second of all, by descending the abyss, he found many other creatures, he found many other people, like in the case of Liza. He experienced lots of adventures, etc., etc. But he also lost his humanity somehow, because he became an interference unit. Someone made him become an interference unit. Was that the creator of the Abyss? Was that the creator of the interference unit? the interference unit creator is the same as the creator of the Abyss, or they are two different things? Who is this mentor of Reg that we still don't know who that person is? Person, creature, whatever, hollow, la la la. Even Reg probably wanted to reach the stage beyond humanity, or somebody else wanted this for him. And that's why they are showing us Reg immediately after Vasukian is explaining this. I really don't believe that that's just a coincidence as a scene. I think that Reg doesn't remember anything from the beginning. He doesn't remember why he descended to the Abyss, why he came up back in the Abyss, why he descended to the Abyss with the Rico once again, and he has to take a Rico somewhere. All these things, all these memories were stolen from him by somebody, and we needed to understand who's that somebody. Is it a creature that lives at the bottom of the Abyss? So Reg, when he finally arrived there at the beginning, was collecting in the meantime all the adventures he made, all the knowledge he could reach. So if that person stole his memories, he could have stolen even everything that he knew so far, right? And that's why this mentor, or maybe this bottom of the abyss person, creature, entity, whatsoever, could create the interference unit to climb up the abyss and to positionate themselves on each layer to collect the most important knowledge, the most important info they could in order to transmit them to the creator, to the mentor, because all these interference units are connected one to the other one until that thing happened, because even Gabu was explaining Reg that something happened on a layer that this connection between all the interference units was gone. So something else has to be understood here about Reg. Vasukian thought at the beginning of his adventure that the more you lose humanity, the more you go beyond humanity and you can become an almighty being, or anyway, something that human beings can't be. By accepting this loss of humanity, he thought that you can convert, you can transform yourself into something different, something that human beings can't understand. And by not being able to understand, it's a piece of knowledge that is priceless. But Vasukian is explaining that at the end of the day, he was wrong, because by doing this journey, he got in touch with another conception. He understood that everything that was done so far was just an accumulation of things. It's like when you are living your life. Your life is based on all of your experiences, one after the other one, after the other one, after the other one. I mean, it's like as if you go deep down the earth and you know that the earth is made by different straits of materials that can make the earth, right? It's like a chemical combination. It's a 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals la la la. I mean, it's something mathematical. It's something that can be explained just with multiple layers all together. That is even how the abyss is divided into. I mean, the abyss is divided into different straits, I mean, into different layers, and all these layers can become a sort of accumulation of knowledge that you are granted just by descending it. At the beginning, Vasukian understood that the most important thing was the goal, to reach the end of it. But Vasukian, throughout this time, also understood that the final stage is not important if you don't understand what's in the middle, that it's always the same thing that I told you. The final part is important, but not as much as important as what's in the middle, what's in between the beginning and the end. And I think that this accumulation can help understanding the beginning and even the end, because it's the middle part. And by accumulating things, you are reaching at the bottom of the abyss. That's the mysterious ingredient that you need in order to go ahead. It's like when I told you that from the beginning of the journey till the end, you can't stay the same, right? You need to change. And that's what's happening even here in this case. These accumulation of things are changing you, are making you become a different person or a different being. While Vasukian thought that everything was because of him, because of his discovery, right now he believes that if there was not this other component, if there was not this accumulating thing over and over and over again, this journey would have not been possible. If he went down the abyss by himself, this is just an example, he couldn't even reach the Golden City because Irumyuui was not there guiding him, so probably he could have lost himself. But the accumulation of all these characters who helped him reaching the Golden City and helped reaching the state of Hollow, okay, the state of Sage at the beginning, then the stage of Hollow, and then everything that happened, the fact that he could survive thanks to Irumyuui, all these things are 1 + 1 + 1 equals 3. Yes, the result is a 3, but 3 can be divided into 3 parts, right? So everyone has its importance in this journey. By the way, Vasukian is talking about this accumulation thing that is really essential for you to understand what the abyss needed in order to be discovered as it is. First of all, he's talking about a great strength, and in fact, Vasukian and all the others had opened the way to reach the bottom of the abyss somehow by using that immense strength that they had to descend the abyss and to stay there in that condition for centuries or decades, no matter how much it is. But the strength, as he says, to be able to keep staying in that place over and over again, no matter the difficulties. This is already the first strong point. The second one is the curiosity, because Vasukian and many others coming after, and in fact they show us even Liza, were curious. They really wanted to know what's deep down there, if they can find a way to come back to surface or not, the relics that they can find deep down the abyss, all these things that can't be understood without curiosity. And then number 3, the purity, because if you have the integrity of your heart and you are never giving up and you always stay true to yourself, this is another great component. If you are tempted by others, if you are corrupted by others, this journey is automatically interrupted because you are not yourself anymore. You are following what others want you to do, and it means that your purity, the purity of your soul, is gone. But if you keep having that inside your heart with your values, with what you really wanted to achieve, etc., etc., that's another important ingredient. It's a stage number 3, let's say. And then the other stage that is really important, that was accumulated in this final part of Vasukian's existence, was these heaven-sent children that could change things, plus Faputa, because Faputa is that light in the darkness. Even when he's saying heaven sent, these children actually, and even Faputa, but let me talk about the children for a second, have such a great importance. Since the beginning of this story, guys, everything was focusing on kids that they are hope for the future, kids that they are used by adults to reach where they have to reach, kids that they seem angels because they are heaven sent. Who sent these kids in the abyss and why? Is it because of the creator's choice? I mean, the creator of not just the abyss, but even the world in which the abyss is. made on purpose this decision to ask these children to descend the abyss by giving them a wish or by giving them this curiosity that could have let them go down the abyss. I mean, these heaven-sent children, this meaningful role that these children have, as if these children are different from everything the abyss has ever seen before. Wow, this is so mystic. Yeah, Rico is like an angel descended from earth to the abyss to save. And usually we know that in a religious way to portray this story, deep down the abyss there is a pure darkness, that is something really evil, right? But Rico, it's like that angel that is descending the abyss to spread light once again. So yeah, these heaven-sent children, when I heard something like this, I was definitely thinking about it, religiously speaking, because that's how it seems. Light versus darkness, good versus evil. I really want to know what's deep down the abyss. I think we will cry much more than now, but it's better to reach it, because if this mission is interrupted now, it means that everything that was done till now was meaningless. We need to reach the bottom, no matter how risky, difficult, dark it is. And then, yes, even Faputa, because Faputa, we discover at the end of the episode her meaning in all these stories. These something that can be accumulated to all the things that have been passed so far. And that's why I wanted to say that all these ingredients, one after the other one, are creating a pile of hope, right? Because when they were showing us Vasukian and the Genji group that they reached the place, then they showed us Liza that was curious, and then she was coming down the abyss too. Then we saw this group of kids. So it's like as if Vasukian really understood his importance in this story. He was always projected to the goal. He was always the one who wanted to be there at the end. But if we think about it, Vasukian was the first step. He was the one who was able to let others come next and keep going ahead what he couldn't do. So it's like as if he's running and he's the first one running, and then when the lap is finished, he has to pass this cylinder to the next one, to the next athlete. And this makes you understand that if the last athlete wins, it's not because of his own potential, but it was thanks to the potential of all of them. And this is the adventure. The adventure is great when you are not the only one doing it, but it's like a sequence of events that are not just made by you, but even by others. Humanity, throughout the centuries, developed the same characteristics that had to pass from one generation to the other, if they will reach the bottom of the abyss. At that moment, it will not just be Rico, Reg, Nanachi, Rushka, and Faputa. When they will reach the bottom of the abyss, in that specific moment, everyone has won the goal. Even Vasukian that now is gone. Even Belaf that now he is gone. Even Ueko that now she is gone. Even Liza that probably is gone. We still don't know, but all for one, one for all. This chain reached the goal because it was a chain, because it was a sequence of events that determined the end. And that's why Vasukian was super important in this, because it's thanks to him that many people decided to descend the abyss later. Many people wanted to feel the same experience, even if it was a little bit different. I mean, all the people who descended the abyss have different experiences, but he was the starting point. And that's why it doesn't matter if he will not be there at the end. He did his role. He did his important part. And it will not be wasted. He will not be forgotten, because Rico will always remember, will always carry everyone she met, all the experiences she encountered, and all the memories of all the people, creatures, hollows, whatsoever she met in the abyss. So if other people couldn't do, physically speaking, Rico will do it for all of them. And by doing it for all of them, by remembering all of them, it's like as if they also make it in that same moment. Vasukian has also one last desire, one last wish. The favor is to help Faputa in this, to help Faputa not feel the same homesick feelings that even Hiromyui felt, and he's asking them to take care of her. I think that that was really nice as his ending, because Faputa was born because of his selfishness, because of his behavior, and because of what he did. Because Faputa is born because she had to avenge her mom, because she was really angry because of what happened to Hiromyui, etc, etc. Faputa is born because if he didn't descend the abyss, Faputa was not alive at this point, because she wasn't even being created, right? So everything comes from him, if you think about it. That's why I think that he's a starting point. And anyway, by wishing that Faputa will not feel the same homesick feelings, it's something that makes me feel that Vasukian was not 100% a bad character. He had some good intentions, especially at the end, because he gave this message to the team of the accumulation process, as much as he understood that he can't be almighty, that he can't definitely surpass what he is. Even his existence right now has a limit, and that makes you understand that he couldn't make it. I mean, he couldn't become something beyond human. Even if he was barely thinking something like this at the beginning, with the result of becoming a hollow, that didn't work so well. Because if you are human, anyway, inside of your soul, there is still a human side of yourself, and you can't deny this. Until there is that small side, no matter if it's big or small, it doesn't matter, but until you have that side inside of you, and your heart is beating, you can't become almighty. So I understand that he recognized his limits, because even when he said, look, I have to go now because I'm really empty. When he's saying, take Faputa with you, reach the bottom, and despair. In that moment, Rico is making a difference. Rico is taking a distance from him, because she's saying, no, things will not go ahead as much as you will. First of all, because now it's a Rico's turn, and Rico is not Vasukian. They are two different beings. Second of all, because it's not predicted that she will feel despair. I mean, they will feel despair only. They can even feel happiness because they reached the bottom of the abyss. And third of all, because Rico doesn't want to be influenced by other people's experiences. She wants to have her own one. And she wants to judge her experience based on what she is seeing, not because of what other people see. So I think that this moment was helping you understand the greatness of Rico as a character, and the strength that Rico has, that is typical of her mom, because even her mom was really strong as a behavior, but here you see that Rico can't be manipulated, can't be influenced. So even Reg and Nanachi's fears are gone, because Rico is not stupid. Even if she's encouraging others, even if she's generous, even if she's always listening to others, then she is taking her path. And nobody can influencing her negatively about that until she's experiencing with her own eyes. But on the other hand, Nanachi was saying how much of the things that he's saying can be predicted. And here we can open a bracket. What if Vasukian knows already that she will feel lots of desperation, but he preferred not to respond to what Rico said later because of what I told you at the beginning of this part dedicated to Vasukian. That means Vasukian tried to give a hint to Rico about what might happen. She replied, now I'm not replying to her anymore because it could be spoiler. I don't want to spoiler her anything. Let her go ahead with her adventure, and later maybe time or events are going to tell that I was right. But I don't want to reply by saying many other things, so let's keep it as a question mark. And in fact, Nanachi felt it like this. She felt that maybe Vasukian predicted already that desperation is coming, but he didn't want to go ahead from that, and he was just saying, that's great, and then he disappeared. I think that even the ending of this character was good as it was, even if I was surprised of that. But yeah, it was the perfect ending because his time now is finished. He gave them all the most important information that they need, and now it's their time. His time is over. He did his best, he couldn't, but new generations are coming. New generations have to keep trying. Not what he wants, but what they want. And then we see that Faputa is calling for all the hollows to help her against these creatures. Look, it's the first time, yes, even Mugi is saying that it's the first time that he's asking them for help, because all the other times she was screaming because she wanted to destroy them. But now she is asking for help, and they are attracted by this scream because inside themselves there is a part of Irumyui anyway. So it's like as if a mother is called by her child and she is automatically responding. She wants to go where her child is, right? So that's why they feel attracted by this scream, and they can't deny it. They can't say, no, I don't want to go. They have to go. Especially now that they redeemed themselves and they are ready to be sacrificed to let Faputa know more about her mom. And by knowing her mom more, by knowing her wishes more, she is also ready to put an end on all these. So I think that that was really awesome, even the way in which the Hollows contributed to all these, because that's the change. That's the moment to create something different, now or never, and they chose to follow their instinct and to reach her. And in fact, even if Rico is afraid because of what might happen, Mugi is saying, no, look, now I wanted to decide for myself. Till now, I was following other people's suggestions, I was following the group, but now I really wanted to end it as for myself, as for what I believe it is. And I don't want that other people interfere, sincerely, because other people already interfered for my existence and they decided for my existence that now it's my time to decide how to end it. I think that Mugi's character was simply awesome. It's one of my favorite characters in this season. She is, yeah, as much as I was telling you, the rational character, the one that was inheriting experience, and by that experience she could understand the mistakes she made and the way in which she can repair for them by doing something good now, something that can be useful for Faputa. Faputa that was the character that suffered the most, and At that time, they couldn't believe that they could have helped her so much, like in this moment. I really like that even when they are reaching Faputa and Mugi is saying sorry to her. That was a high moment of the episode. Then Reg is thanking the Hollows, and the Hollows are talking in another language. Of course, Reg doesn't understand anything, but even in this case, as much as at the beginning of the episode when Faputa was trying to interact with Gabu but Gabu didn't understand anything, it doesn't matter the language. Sometimes you understand the intention of a person by looking at her eyes or by gestures. And that's what really matters, because when language becomes an obstacle, you have other ways to express yourself. And in fact, even if we didn't understand what that Hollow wanted to say to Reg, we understood that it was like as if he or she was thanking Reg and all the others for everything. Thanks for saving them, or thanks for the time spent together. Or maybe she was even saying, have a safe trip and I hope that everything will be good when you reach the bottom of the abyss. I mean, many good things, but it doesn't matter what she or he really wanted to say. The most important thing is you understand from her eyes that her intention was good, that the words that can't be translated were good anyway. And in fact, even Reg is saying it. No matter what you're saying, you are cute. So that's something emotional and really beautiful that I loved so much. Another reason why I love Mugi is when she's giving to Riko that piece of paper of Liza, because Mugi and Majikaja knew that she really wanted to get in touch with something that regarded her mom so badly that Mugi and Majikaja decided to buy it from that market shop. And that's good, because you understand that Mugi and Majikaja were saved by Riko, and in return, they wanted to do something good too. These characters are not just selfish. They learned, thanks to the help of Riko maybe, to understand that you can have, but you also have to donate. And when there is this exchange, you feel definitely better, you feel complete. And if you're just selfish to think about yourself, you will always lose something. You will understand that there's something missing. But now Mugi and even Majikaja, I think that they found their completeness in this episode. They felt that even if they were going by knowing that they did all the best, that they did their 100% to recover from that state and move on peacefully. Even Mugi is saying that that piece of Liza's notes is part of the accumulation. Yes, guys, because if Riko didn't reach that village, she couldn't get in touch with Mugi. She couldn't be in touch with that piece of Liza's note. And maybe that piece of Liza's note can tell them the new step to take inside the abyss. It can tell them the next mission, the next goal to fulfill. So as you can see, we need that note. And if there was not that one stage of accumulation, probably there was something missing. So at the end of the day, we have to thank this village. No matter what they did to Irumyuui, we have to thank Irumyuui, we have to thank the village, we have to thank all the Hollows present in the village, because they were helping Riko to accumulate something else that if they were not meeting, it was impossible for them to reach. As you can see, the matter of destiny tells you that you can take a step, but you can take the second step based on what's happening in the first one. It's all a consequence. I really liked that Ma-san joins Riko, because it's like the other Hollow that was thanking Reg. Or yeah, now that I'm thinking, what if she's saying that Hollow that was talking to Reg was saying something about who Reg was, and maybe he didn't remember? It could be possible, but anyway, she was saying something cute, in my opinion. And yeah, even Masan decides to follow Rico till the end, and that was really great because you understand that all these hollows, before becoming hollows, they are human. They have still that human side, like Nanachi in this case, like Weku when she transformed into a hollow, that if it stays there, you will never lose your humanity. And this layer of the abyss that is called the loss of humanity, humanity in this team or in these circumstances was not lost because they were still having a side of humanity over there. And it means that that layer of the abyss failed, as much as the layer of Bondorudo failed when they could proceed to the last dive. As you can see, these are all levels to test if you can still be human no matter what's going to happen. And yeah, when I say that this layer failed, it's just because Rico and all the others could go ahead to the next stage without losing what they are, without losing their principles. And it means that they gained another level. Then there is the moment in which Weko is transforming into a hollow. I really wanted to say that that scene was simply amazing, because it's thanks to this scene that we can restart Weko's journey since the beginning, and we can still understand the sorrow that she's feeling, the guilt, the unforgivable feelings that she's still feeling, and she feels the culprit. She feels that she can't be forgiven. She couldn't be forgiven for everything that she has done, and no matter how many times she tried to repair from all the things she did, it's really hard. I mean, when you know that you're guilty inside, no matter how much you prove yourself, or no matter how much you try your best to solve things, you still feel guilty because you damaged a dear person so much that these things are meaningless and they can't give you the state of mind of a person that recovered from these traumas, from these guilty feelings. That's why I really understand Weko. I think that even Weko was a great character in this season. It was a character that was really understanding the mistakes she made since the beginning. She felt guilty throughout all that time, always trying to find a way to restart, to do something good, to redeem herself by doing other good things. While she's reaching the end of this black tunnel, she's even talking about Rico. She doesn't even understand why she's so connected to her, because she's even saying, look, she's smaller than I am, and she doesn't even have the same experience that I have. But anyway, Rico, compared to me, is greater than I am, because even if she knows that she has limits, she doesn't give up. She always gives the opportunity to others to join adventures, to be better, to restart, to create something new with her that can mean more than anything that could have happened before. She is offering adventures, and when she's saying something like this, offering adventures, doesn't mean just, okay, we go to from A to B, okay, it's an adventure. No, it means she gives others the opportunity to change, and to change through an adventure, to change through events, also because she is the one who changed first. If we compare the Rico at the beginning of the story and the now Rico, we see a difference already. Even if she keeps standing on her purposes, on her ideals, but already many experiences have changed her, have made her become more responsible, more realistic, and more mature than before. because she decided to dive into the unknown. And that's why Weko really admires Riko. And when she's thinking about her, you can see her surrounded by light. Yes, because Riko is light in the consciousness of all these creatures who think that they have lost their humanity, but Riko is a human child going deep down the abyss to remind them that there is still a human side inside of themselves, that there is still that part that they think that was stolen or that was gone, but it's still there. They just have to recognize it. They just have to listen to themselves to find it still. And another thing why she thinks that Riko is greater than what she is because she can make decisions. Yes, Riko is deciding that she will go to the bottom of the abyss, no matter how much it will take, no matter how many risks she is going to face. She made that decision. So the way in which she is brave, courageous, not giving up, a resolute person that can inspire others to do the same. She did it with Nanachi. She did it even with Ozen. She did it with Prushka. She did it with Faputa. She did it with Weko, because when she was listening to Weko's story, she was listening peacefully and without judging her, because Riko is like this. She likes to listen everything that was happening, and then she's making a decision. And she was even helping Weko, because she was eradicating her from those cables that were connecting Weko to Hiromiui. She had that resolute attitude that I really love about Riko, and even Weko recognized that. And by understanding how Riko is, that means a person that makes decisions, that she's firm, she's resolute, she's stubborn, she is strong, etc., etc. Weko understands that it's not true that in her case it was different. I mean, she understands that even Weko herself made a decision at that time. She decided to follow the Ganja group. She decided to join them and to be part of the adventure. And that adventure brought her something great. She had the opportunity to meet Hiromiui. She had the opportunity to see light in darkness, and that mattered. I mean, that deserved to have been lived as an experience. Everything deserves to be lived as an experience, because these experiences are creating what we are. So no matter if they are good or bad, that's what we are. That's the result of all the journey we are making. So even Weko has to be thankful to this experience of the decision she made to join the Ganja group, because no matter the atrocities, no matter the incidents and the cruel things happening later, she was even finding something good. And in negativity, you don't have to forget the positivity. It means that no matter the bad experiences you have passed through, you don't have to forget that there were also good points, that there were also positive things about why you decided to join that journey. And that journey is not meaningless based on the result. That journey matters because of all the things you experienced in the middle. So at the end of the day, even Weko is saying, I had fun, tanoshikatta. And that's true, because before joining the Ganja group, she was in darkness. She was considered as a junk, and she could find her gold, her treasure, by joining this adventure. And that treasure is not something materialistic. It's something referring to feelings. She is saying sorry to Hiromiui once again. Yes, I really like this side of Weko, because it's not enough to say sorry one time only. You have to be ready to say sorry every time you feel that you needed to say it. And Weko is that type of girl. Even if she said sorry to Hiromu, even when she was hugging her after she transformed, after she lost her humanity, she was not refraining from saying sorry over and over and over again, because that's how she felt. So she was not feeling completed just because she said sorry one time, or she was not feeling satisfied because she said, okay, I said sorry, I did what I had to do, that's it. No, she keeps saying it because that's a way to exorcise the pain and the mistakes she made. And that's something I really admire on her. And later, we see that while she's transformed into Hollow, and she's little by little losing her physical appearance, because she is reaching the outside of the village, and because that village is broken, there is this hole in which you can see the light, but that light is consuming her anyway. There is this other hollow that I think it's called the Caillou or something. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, because they were translating these into Caillou, so I don't know if that's her name or not. I don't remember sincerely. But this hollow seems to care so much about Weko, and she risked her existence to save Weko more, because this hollow knew that Weko still had something to solve before leaving that dimension too. I like the fact that that hollow sacrificed herself for the sake of Weko, because she knew that Weko's journey was not finished yet. She had something else to do, and she preferred to disappear instead by doing something good, to return this favor to Hiromu too, because that hollow was one of those who hate Hiromu when there was the time to survive, and now that the hollow is ready to repent herself by sacrificing herself and save Weko, someone that was so dear to Hiromu. I love the way in which they repay for everything that they did that was negative, that was bad, that was not good. And then Weko, of course, is saved by Nanachi and the others. Nanachi knows Weko, before going, has to do something else, that is confronting Faputa for the last time, and feel complete by touching the beautiful creature that Hiromu could create. I really liked that moment, because Nanachi's empathy is super amazing. Nanachi is the empathic character that I love the most in this story, and it's a thanks, even in that case, to her suffering that she has felt throughout all that time, that she can sense, that she can feel empathy for other characters who are suffering at that time, and they needed time to rest in peace. They have time to reach their final stage, say what they have to say, and then go and rest in peace. I love the delicate way in which Nanachi is approaching Weko. Yeah. But anyway, Faputa is still contrasting the two creatures that dominated that area of the abyss, and she's doing her best, even if she knows that she needs more energy, because she's run out of it, and she knows that she needs more in order to reach the ultimate state of her duty. So that's why she was calling them, thanks to that scream that was really powerful. And at a certain point, Reg is reaching her to tell her, look, you can go over there, because over there are the hollows that you can eat them, and you are calling for them, and at the same time I can exchange myself with you, because I can stay here and try to defeat the creatures, while in the meantime you are doing what you have to do with the hollows. As soon as Faputa is reached by Reg, and Reg is screaming, Faputa! You see, guys, the way in which Faputa is changing her face. I mean, she's and then this contrast is super amazing, because in the first facial expression you see the anger and you see the fear to lose, because if you lose you can't fulfill your duty, and the anger against these creatures because these creatures are eating what's hers, a contamination of her territory. It's what she doesn't like. And when Reg is trying to reach her, she's happy because she's hearing her name. And you know that she likes her name. Even when Gabo chose her name, she said that she's pleased with that. And even when in that flashback of Reg, they were talking about her name, she said that she's pleased of that name. So when she is hearing someone calling her, she feels immediately so happy. And of course, if that person is Reg calling for her, it's even better, because it's like as if these homesick feelings are over in the moment in which she is called by someone next to her or dear to her. So I really like that this contrast of a facial expression that determines a different way to detect Faputa, a way in which you can understand how Faputa really is. She is an insecure being, and she needs to be reassured of the fact that someone dear to her is still there treasuring her, and nobody is forgetting her. That's what she really wants the most, and that's what even Irumyui wanted. She wanted it to be helpful, she wanted it to be useful for others, and at the same time she wanted lots of kids, and she wanted not to be forgotten. Later, Ueko says that Irumyui and Faputa are different. I don't agree. They are the same. Immediately after, Faputa changes the facial expression once again, because she's like, why are you here? She wants to confirm if she was betrayed for real or not, because even if she doesn't want to admit it to herself, she still trusts Reg more than ever. So it's like as if she wants to give him a chance, another chance, to prove her that she can trust him once again. And in fact, Reg is saying sorry to her, and is also saying that he is not going to go against her anymore. He is going to help her instead. And you can see Faputa's face relaxing, because finally she understands that he doesn't want to go against her, and she can trust him. Then, of course, Faputa understands she's going to reach the Hollows while Reg is trying to defeat the creatures. I have to say that I was surprised to see how much energy Riko put when she had to use the white whistle, when she had to use Prushka. In that moment, in fact, she was losing blood from her nose. I mean, something really tragic, but even in that case, Riko is there to help Reg to reach what he has to reach. That means he has to help Faputa to defeat the creatures, also because these creatures are damaging even the village, and if the village is attacked, of course, even the Hollows left are going to be injured. Reg is really kind. Yeah, that's one of his characteristics, and it's quite predominant here, more than ever. Even in this case, I like the Riko that is helping Reg, and Riko that, thanks to Prushka, is helping Reg. Prushka, in this case, decided to be used. I mean, decided that the white whistle could have been used, while at that time, in the previous episodes, they were saying, no, Prushka is drained right now when they had to confront Faputa, right? And I told you, look, in my opinion, in that case, Prushka didn't want to attack Faputa, didn't want to be used for that. But in this case, Prushka agreed to be used in order to defeat the creatures, because everything that they were doing was damaging even the group itself. So she agreed to be useful in that case. And then, yes, the Hollows in the meantime are talking to Faputa. We know that Nanachi is showing Ueko to Faputa, and Faputa already understands that Ueko is almost going. So she is promising that once all this is finished, she will meet Ueko and she will talk to her. So I really like the way in which Faputa is empathic too, because she understands, no matter the aggressivity that she's using, and the violence, the bad words she has always used towards the Hollows, towards other people she doesn't know, clearly, she is still making that promise. And yes, even in this case, you understand that Faputa is not the bad character we think, that Faputa is doing what she's doing just to defend herself from others. But yeah, I appreciated the hollows because they were saying, look, Faputa, you can take us because we wanted to become part of your value, part of what you are. And we say sorry to you. And in fact, Mugi was really great about this. I really liked that she was humbling saying it honestly to her. They want to be useful too. They wanted to do something good, to repay what they did. And in order to repay what they did, they have to sacrifice themselves to reach Iromui's daughter, to help her destroying the village so they can also be free and they will not be stuck there forever. And by doing this, they can feel complete. They feel, my existence had a meaning finally. And we were not forced to stay here forever for nothing. Finally, we have the chance to change, a change that can change, sorry for the repetition of the words, but can change something for good, so let's do it. And at the same time, they cannot just contribute to destroy the village, but they can help even Faputa to regain memories of what her mom was. And she can fully understand the mission of her mom. She can fully understand what was her mother's purpose and the reason why she did what she did. So I think that all these hollows were doing two great things. And these two great things helped themselves to rest in peace, become something valuable. If they stayed there forever and Rico or Reg or Nanachi would have never come over there, they would have felt meaningless. Their existence was pointless because they were stuck there. But now, thanks to their help, they feel valuable, they feel meaningful, because they are helping others to reach what they couldn't reach. They can be that plus that matters a lot to help others to reach what they have to reach. And I really agree with this. I think that the author made it 100% by spreading this sort of a message. And when Faputa is collecting all these hollows by eating them, by reconjuncting to the source, that is Faputa, Faputa understands more about her mom, and she understands that everything that was done was because of her birth. That means that all that she was doing was because of her living, the reason of her living. And at this point, I can understand Faputa because she has mixed feelings. You see that she's crying, but she's even so angry because she keeps seeing these memories, even thanks to these other hollows, that they were hitting her mom, but at the same time, she is there because of them. I mean, she is there because everything that happened to Irumyui before her birth. She could have not been existed if nothing of this have happened to Irumyui. So it's like as if Faputa feels guilty too, because she is the result of Irumyui's feelings or of Irumyui's suffering. And of course, a daughter would not like to be her mother's suffering, right? But in this case, she's realizing that she's there because of that suffering. So is it a bless? Is it a curse? Both. It's a curse because Irumyui suffered and nobody could hear her scream anymore. She was not able to speak, to put in words the suffering she was feeling while she was losing her humanity. And a bless because Faputa is there, because Faputa was born. This birth can give her the chance to let even her mom reborn. I don't know how to explain this in other words, but if you are coming from your mom and your mom suffered a lot, your mom wants the best for you, and if you can go ahead with what your mom couldn't do, your mom feels happy. But I understand these mixed feelings that Faputa is feeling over there because of what she's doing, because she needs to know more about her mom. So the only way in which she can know more about her mom is to feed herself by eating the hollows that ate her, that ate Irumyuui. So it's like as if she's doing what even they were doing with Irumyuui. It's this connection that is quite amazing. But even in this episode, you understand that everything goes back to the source, that nothing can be separated from the origin, from the source, and that's why everything goes back to it. I really liked that thing too. Then I go back talking about Weko, because while I was telling you that she doesn't want to forgive herself because of the crimes that she thinks that she committed, at the same time she is recognizing more and more what Irumyuui wanted to be. That means something important to somebody. And Irumyuui, yes, wanted it to be like a mom, like a shelter for everyone, and that's why even this village was created, because all these hollows was living inside of her as if they couldn't go away from her, right? It's a matter of selfishness, but even these homesick feelings that she could feel because she felt afraid of being abandoned, that she decided to put all these hollows inside herself, or to be this sort of protection, like a cave, like something closed, so they could stay there, live there, never go away from her. Irumyuui really needed a shelter too, really needed to be remembered by others and not to be forgotten, because if she was helpful and if she was afraid to be forgotten, she also wanted to be remembered. She also wanted that everyone could have stayed in the same place forever, couldn't go away. That's why the two things are unified: being useful and being important to somebody, not let other people go away from her, and not to be forgotten. Or anyway, always grateful to her because they were surviving thanks to her sacrifice. So as you can see, these two things are colliding. That's why I think that Faputa inherited what Irumyuui was, because they have so many things in common. Both of them, they were insecure. Both of them, they were shy to connect, to talk to strangers. Both of them, they felt homesick. Both of them were feeling abandoned by others, so they were struggling the most to do everything in their power not to be forgotten. Both of them wanted to be important to somebody else. In the case of Irumyuui, Weko, and all the other villagers. In the case of Faputa, Reg or Gabu. So as you can see, this lack of feelings that you're always searching for in order to keep feeling. And this is super great because mother and daughter are having more or less the same feelings, but their ending will be different. Thanks to others who could understand his situation. And Faputa will not have the same destiny as her mom, because she is not her mom. She is her mom for some characteristics, but she is not her mom for many others. She's not her mom, for example, because she was able and she was lucky to meet the people who don't want to use her, but they just want her company. They just want her to join, to feel whole, happy together and go on adventures together. So that's a different destiny. And that's why Irumyuui, as much as I was telling you in the previous episode, doesn't want Faputa inside the village, inside herself, because she has to be different. She has to move on. She wanted Faputa to be independent and not to consume herself with the same feelings that she also had. And things like this makes you understand how Irumyuui was a great mom. I think that she was making a great choice by not letting her enter the membrane. That's why, at the end of the day, Weko is thanking Irumyui so much because in her case she didn't want her to become a hollow because she was treasuring her the most as much as Faputa. I mean, Faputa and Weko are the two most important people, the two most important beings for Irumyui, and both of them were not in the village because Weko was there deep down in the sacrifice hall and she was kept as a human being, as much as Faputa couldn't enter inside the membrane. So as you can see, Irumyui was protecting these two dearest people, these two dearest being in the case of Faputa, the most. And that's why Irumyui was really loving them. I think that by giving Weko the opportunity to be human, it was like giving a chance to that place of the abyss to still have a human side. That in that case was Weko until Riko reached, because she's a human child, so she can definitely understand Weko, but I think that we needed a human being in that layer of the abyss, and that's why Weko was there, and that's why Irumyui didn't want her to become a hollow too. So I think that Vasukian took her over there, not because it was his will, but because it was Irumyui's will. Maybe because Irumyui was talking to Vasukian until she was still conscious, and she was asking him to make a promise to put Weko in that area of the abyss, in that sacrifice hall, so she couldn't have been reached by the force field, and at the same time she couldn't have been part of the village because she was something aside. She was something too important to Irumyui, that she should have not been sacrificed as much as all the others who were using her to survive. And automatically, by doing this, by choosing this for Weko's destiny, Irumyui was forgiving Weko for everything that was happening already. So even if Weko doesn't seem to feel that she can be forgiven, at the same time, Irumyui already forgave her for everything that happened, because she understood, she felt that that was not Weko's intention, primarily intention. Anyway, yes, Weko is thanking Irumyui to let her still be human, and at the same time, by being human, she could have suffered still. She could have felt still, and in Weko's opinion, that's the perfect punishment that she deserves because of the mistakes she made, because of the choices she made by asking Irumyui to join her will. So I think that, yeah, Weko is right. That's the perfect punishment, to keep going on living and to understand the mistakes made and try to redeem yourself somehow, even if it's not possible, but at least to know that you're still alive, to understand the wrong things you made, and at the same time to be still human, to have the possibility to feel, to be able to have feelings. I think that even in this case, that was a huge gift that Irumyui was doing to her. So it could be considered a punishment, but some others can consider it as a bless. It depends how you see things. If I were in Weko's point of view, in Weko's position, I think that I would have felt that it's both. Because when you know that you're guilty and you feel this punishment throughout the years, it seems something eternal, something that it's not finishing. And that's why you know that even in the past, in the previous episodes, you see that Weko wanted to commit suicide. She wanted to end her life. But at the end of the day, it was better not to do something like this, because by feeling the years passing, she could have had even the chance to redeem herself. So it's also considered as a bless, because she had the opportunity to take care of the lost children of Irumyui. She could have found another purpose of her existence, a purpose that was helping her, redeeming herself. So that's why it could be considered both. And I think that I would have been grateful to Irumyui to have given me the chance to still be alive, to still breathe, and to still find another purpose that was making even Irumyui herself happy. And in fact, she's also thanking Irumyui because she's considering her as my very own warm darkness. And in fact, that's what happened, because Irumyui was warm enough to protect her, to love her in darkness, because even Irumyui was becoming something really dark. Everything that was caused to her was really dark, and even Ueko was finding herself into a dark place. But in darkness, she could have found this new light of hope, this new mission that is taking care of her lost children and be like a second mom to them by remembering all their names, by giving them identities, and also to be connected to Irumyui thanks to those black cables. Even in this case, I told you many times, darkness can be even therapeutic, because it can help you to regain the strength you thought that you have lost, and to see the light that can shine even more bright than before. While she is thanking Irumyui, the village is exploding. That means Irumyui's existence is over. Finally, I should say, because Irumyui suffered too much and she really needed to be released. I totally agree with Faputa when she's saying that that destruction is a bless, it's a miracle to Irumyui, because after all this suffering, she resisted so much until someone was coming to change things, that now that things changed, it's time to go. And I think that she was resisting too much, and she was not even considered human anymore. But the fact that she resisted till now, till this moment, makes you understand that something human was still there, no matter what. I really like the way in which Ueko is talking, and at the same time, Irumyui is disrupting it herself. I mean, she's falling into pieces, and you see these stones falling from the sky. That it's like in the previous episode when we saw that iron rain, something that is falling on the ground, something that is descending, that is over. That was the right end for Irumyui. Because now it's time, things are changing, and that even Faputa can move forward, because her mission is gone now. She destroyed the village, she destroyed her mom thanks to the cooperation of all the others, thanks to the memories of her mom, thanks to Riko, Reg, and Nanachi's help. Now, a new chapter of her life is starting. By the way, Faputa is out of energy, because she has fought deliberately against these two creatures, and of course her mom is gone, so she feels without energy, without power, and she thinks that she's gone too, that she's going to die, but Reg is saving her once again. And I really liked that while she's descending, before she's rescued by Reg, she's still thinking about what Mugi and all the others said, and the way in which Masan and Majikaja were playing a great role by helping Riko, Reg, and Nanachi. I mean, the way in which these hollows recognized that they had to do something good to redeem themselves, as much as I was telling you, but at the same time, from Faputa's point of view, even Masan and Majikaja, that they were useful for this change, they were useful for all the other characters to reach the end of Irumyui. She's saying that she's paying lots of respect to them, and I totally agree with this. As much as now Majikaja and Masan have another mission, because Faputa is giving them this duty, this new mission to fulfill, that is to help Riko and Nanachi to go out from this side of the abyss, from this area in which they are in still. And by saying something like this, Nanachi is making this facial expression because she knows that once they will go out from that area, they will disappear too. So it will be a great loss for Riko, because Riko was always grateful and happy to stay next to them. But at the same time, Faputa has to end everything. I mean, she really needs to end all of it, not just a part of it. And she can't refrain herself from giving them this order, not because she's evil, but because she doesn't want to end a chapter just at 80%. It has to be 100. Otherwise, it's pointless, everything that was done so far. And I think that for Faputa it was not easy to say something like this, but as I was telling you, a mission has to be fulfilled entirely, otherwise you can't move on, right? Otherwise there is still something that reminds you of that negative experience and you can't also move on. So I understand why Faputa wants to do that. And at the same time, we see that Riko is giving Maa-san this gift because she deserved that, because she was always helping her, and because she really cares about Maa-san. I mean, Riko doesn't care about the appearance, you always saw that. If she can cherish others and she can treasure in her heart other creatures that were helpful and they were giving something to her, she's doing it. She is so outgoing and full of heart that she doesn't even care about who these people or what these creatures are. That's really admirable. I mean, I think that Riko personifies the anti-racism concept 100%, because she's not making differences, she's not discriminating others, and she's always trying to find the good thing from each of them, and this is super admirable. I really love Riko's character. And by talking about the way in which these Majikaja or Maa-san want to be complete before going, in this case Majikaja is possessing Faputa when he feels that his legs are gone, so he says, look, the only thing that I want is to possess Faputa and to help them till the end of all of it. If you remember, Majikaja has always been attracted by Faputa and really wanted to get in touch with her since the beginning. I remember when he was meeting Riko, Reg and Nanachi at first, the first time at the beginning of this story, and he was saying that he has never seen Faputa, but he always wanted to see her. He was always attracted by her. So I think that even this last wish to possess Faputa and fake as if he is Faputa or he is the princess of all values, to see how it feels to be like her, that was his last wish to be granted, and in order to rest in peace. And that's what happened. I think that was really nice, as much as for Maa-san, the most important thing was to protect Riko, to be sure that she was there and she was fine, and hug her for the last time. I think that these two characters played a great role too. Majikaja, without his help, they couldn't reach the areas of this village. And in the case of Maa-san, Riko couldn't still be alive without her help. And I feel sad because I thought that Maa-san somehow could have gone with Riko anyway. I don't know if yes, I think that Riko is getting this gift that she was giving to Maa-san together with her, so maybe you can still find a little bit of Maa-san inside this gift, and Maa-san is not gone for real, if that's the case. So if it's like this, I can really appreciate the author's choice, because it makes you understand that Maa-san is still there anyway. So Riko has not lost her completely. And even when Maa-san is hugging Riko, yeah, it reminds me like a mom that is hugging her child before going. It was really emotional, let me tell you. I really felt that moment too. A curious thing that happened is that one of the two creatures that was injured was killed by the other creature, these dragons. They seem dragons, yeah. The reason why I think that that creature killed the other one, it was because all the other small creatures next to these two main ones could be fitted. It's like as if it means that the abyss can go on anyway, that the abyss is not over, that the creatures inhabiting the abyss, that area of the abyss, can go on living by being fitted. So it was like as if this creature didn't want them to be sacrificed too and dying, but the creature wanted that this area of the abyss could still go ahead. That's the feeling that I had. And then we are reaching the end of this incredible season by having this dialogue between Weko and Faputa on one side, and initially there is even this moment in which we have the dialogue between Riko and Nanachi, in which you see that Nanachi is really afraid for Riko, because Riko has lost Prushka, Riko has lost now even Masan. So Nanachi, as I told you, is really empathic because she lost Mitty and she knows how does it feel. And she doesn't want Riko to suffer. She wants Riko to remember that even if they are gone, they are following the path to the abyss too, and they are still present there, no matter if you can see them or not. That it's more or less the same thing that she said to Mitty when she was departing from her. And I really like this mother instinct that Nanachi has towards Riko, to comfort her, to support her, and to be there when she needs. But on the contrary, I really like how Riko reacts to all these events, because she was saying to Nanachi, look, it doesn't matter. I mean, if they are here or not, it doesn't matter, because I will always remember all of them. So it's like as if she's saying they are still alive. Until I remember them, they are alive and they don't go anywhere. And I think that Nanachi understood her clearly and really liked Riko in that moment too. I mean, I think that even Nanachi was praising her reaction so much, because you understand how strong Riko is becoming. Because after she lost Prushka, do you remember she was crying so hard? She was screaming, Prushka, Prushka. But now she's not crying anymore. Now she's stronger than before. That's why I was telling you that Riko changed quite a lot throughout this adventure, and she will keep changing. So I can't wait to see how much she will change next. What kind of events are going to torture Riko, mentally or physically speaking? How much can she resist still, and how? That's my favorite thing to understand, sincerely, because you always see that Riko has this great personality. She doesn't give up. She always wants to go ahead. No matter if she's losing others, she is getting stronger. But how much is it going to last, this condition? Is it going to last for real, or is Vasukian right? She has to feel more desperation the more she's reaching the bottom of the abyss. Let's see. Going back to Faputa and Weko, Faputa needs to know more about Mom, because she feels that she still doesn't know so many other things. And in fact, Faputa didn't know about Weko, because as I told you, Weko was not part of the village. Weko was confined into this sacrifice hole, and that's why Faputa didn't know of her existence. As much as she knows that Weko is an important part of her mom's life. She can sense it, and she needs her somehow. She needs to get in touch with her, because she needs to know what she knows about her mom. And by feeling sad because she still needs to know more about her mom, makes you understand how Faputa is homesick. How Faputa needs still the presence of her mom to reconjunct with her completely, to know everything, to know all the memories that she needs to know, to create a great memory of her mom even in the future. Yes, I told you already here, Weko is saying to Faputa that Irumyuui and Faputa are different, more or less. But I don't agree, because I think that they are the same instead, even if their destiny is completely different. And you hear even Weko desperately saying that Irumyuui will never come back as before. So she is admitting herself that Irumyuui is gone, and she can't do anything for that, rather than trying to reach her. And that's what's going to happen, because Weko is losing her existence, and before losing her existence, she still wants to contact with Faputa. She still wants to talk to her and tell her the last things. I think that was really admirable too, because Even Weko needs to reconjunct with what she considered her daughter. So Weko, it's like Faputa's grandmother, if we think about that. But yeah, it's like the mother that has to reach the daughter, so the daughter will be resting in peace because she knows that she rejoined the mom. By knowing Weko, even Faputa feels complete because it's the final stage. It's the one left, the one and only left who knew Irumyuui. And Weko knew Irumyuui deeply, more than others. So that piece of the puzzle missing was the biggest one, the most important one. What's great in this case is that Faputa recognizes that Weko doesn't belong to Faputa, that she can't absorb, she can't eat Weko because Weko belongs to Irumyuui. As much as I was telling you, Weko was considered as Irumyuui's mom. That's something that has to return to Irumyuui, as much as Irumyuui went back to Faputa anyway. And the way in which she's not touching her, but she's just surrounding her, trying to listen to her words and try to understand that the more she can communicate about her mom, that's really nice. Faputa knows her limits. Faputa knows that if she's going to eat Weko, it's really disrespectful to the memory of Irumyuui, and she will never do that. And she doesn't belong to Faputa because Faputa and Weko, they are two different things coming from two different realities, and both of them have something in common. They really loved Irumyuui. So if Weko is being stolen by Faputa from Irumyuui, that's something disrespectful, something that Faputa can't stand and doesn't want to do. That's why Weko has to stay there where Irumyuui is, because it's her way to go back to the source, to stay together with her precious warm darkness that is waiting for her. And while she's thinking all these things, Weko is remembering even this sentence that is even a junk can turn into gold. Guys, that's true. Everyone can find a purpose in life. Everyone can be important to others. Everyone can have a meaning, can have a mission to fulfill. Everyone can be treasured by someone. So even the junkest person can turn into gold, because once you have love on your side, once you are appreciated and treasured by others, you shine. You feel important. You feel as if you are shining bright like gold. Or you find gold because this person who's loving you, by making you shining, it's your treasure. It's the gold you need to survive, to feel better, to feel comprehended, to feel understood, to feel listened, to feel loved. And the last sentence is that she's referring to Faputa, and I think that, yeah, in that moment, Weko thought that that was Irumyuui, let's say, because inside of a Faputa there was Irumyuui anyway. She is saying, I thank that person that told me that I had dark eyes. I think in this case she's referring to Belaf, because Belaf at the beginning, when they were on the ship, he was saying to Weko, you have dark eyes. Do you remember? So she's thanking Belaf because he said something like this, because it's thanks to those dark eyes that she could meet Irumyuui, that she could follow Irumyuui, that she could be found by Irumyuui, that she could change thanks to Irumyuui. So I think that even in this case, the choices you're making because of your free will can determine events in the future that are creating your persona, that are creating what you are. And this is simply amazing. I really loved that. Yeah, I don't know if she was referring to Belaf or to the dark figure that we saw at the beginning in episode 1, when we saw that he was violating Weko, and maybe that's why she developed these dark eyes. I don't know, but yeah, one of the two. I mean, someone told her that she had the dark eyes. Maybe even to Belaf, she was saying, I was told that I have dark eyes or something like that. No, okay, yes, she said something like this. And then Beaf responded by saying, look, even if you have dark eyes, they are really beautiful, or something like that. So I think that, yeah, she was referring to the moments before reaching the Genja group. When Ueko dies, Faputa doesn't understand her feelings because she's saying, look, Ueko died, she doesn't belong to me, she belongs to my mom, but I'm still sad. I feel that I'm crying. And I can understand Faputa, because if Faputa recollected all the hollows who ate her mom, it means that she collected her memories, her mom's memories, but even a part of her mom too. So Irumyui would have felt sad by knowing that Ueko is dead. And that's why she feels how she feels. The other thing that I love the most was when Faputa decides to bury Ueko where Irumyui disappeared. That was the best place for Ueko because of the homesick feelings that I told you before. Ueko suffered because of homesick as much as Irumyui. So if they stay together for eternity, they will never suffer of a homesick anymore. And I think that that's the best thing to do. That was the right choice to make because finally they can both rest in peace, but they can rest in peace together and no one is abandoning the other one. That was the biggest fear that they could feel at that time when they were alive. But we know that even if you're dead, the soul permains, the soul stays. And that's why she needed to be buried over there. And I really liked that even Faputa put those 3 stones, as much as when Reg disappeared from her eyes, do you remember? That the stones that makes you understand that even Faputa wanted to leave something that was regarding herself, because she felt sad too. And I really liked that she wanted to put something about her too. That was really respectful and emotional. Sorry, I turned on the light and you understand how long this video is, but I still have to tell you a couple of things before ending this second Marvelosa season. Immediately after they created the grave for Ueko, Faputa starts crying because of Gabu. And even in that case, Faputa is feeling this homesickness that she would have always felt if Riko, Reg and Nanachi didn't ask her to join. So as you can see, now more than ever, now that Irumyui is gone, now that Gabu is gone, she finds herself completely alone. And that's why this homesickness is represented by this will to cry and desperately call for his name. Because even if Irumyui was not next to her, Gabu was next to her. There was always someone next to her, right? But it's in that specific moment that Reg is asking her to join, finally. And that's what I was waiting for, because I knew that this thing was happening, guys. And in fact, Reg is doing what Vasukian told them to do. That means to take care of Faputa and take her with you or something like that. I think that even Vasukiana said the proper things because probably he also didn't want that Faputa would have felt lonely after all that happened, etc, etc. So when Reg is asking her to join, that was super awesome. And let me tell you guys, standing ovation in this last part of the episode to the soundtrack. The music was making me crying more than anything else. I love the Made in Abyss soundtrack. I think that when I will be able to buy the soundtrack, I will do that because it's so emotional. It makes you want to cry. And that doesn't mean that I am a masochist, but I really like the music that I've heard in this episode. And by asking Faputa to join them, it's part of the promise. It's what they have always promised her. I mean, it's what Reg has always promised her, to come back, to help her with her destiny, and to be able to grab his hand and join him on adventures. That's the entire promise. And even if he doesn't remember, guys, the exact things that he promised, his instinct is telling him the same things, the same words, the same gestures, and he is even crying as if his consciousness, his subconscious, not his consciousness, his subconscious, he's telling him that what he's doing is the right thing to do, no matter if he remembers or not. It's called instinct. It's called a natural and spontaneous feeling that you have that you're doing the right thing. So Faputa was saying, but you're not remembering anything still, etc., etc. It doesn't matter, because now what Reg is saying later, by declaring his love to her in that way, in which he did, was even more beautiful. Because he said, look, okay, I don't remember, but if you are what you are now, that means super beautiful, super courageous, ready to not give up, etc., etc., it's enough for me. I mean, that doesn't mean that I will never remember what I told you. I don't remember it now. But let me tell you guys, I definitely believe that he remembers sooner or later. And anyway, he will not just remember these things about Faputa, but he will remember everything that happened since the moment he decided to descend the abyss from the first time, in my opinion. But yeah, I really loved this moment because Reg is opening his heart and is so kind that he is using these beautiful words to convince her, because something is telling him that he has to do something like this, that even Faputa couldn't resist. She decides to join. Destiny is connecting you to a person, and even if this person is not remembering anything later, it doesn't mean anything, because if that person is repeating the same actions, the same things, as if he is remembering things, it means that destiny was that Faputa had to be reached once again by Reg with Haku, that Faputa had to join with him throughout many other adventures coming still, because that was what was written for her destiny. And she has to accept that. She doesn't have to deny it, especially now that she has the chance to have that promise fulfilled, to have that promise not being broken. I loved that moment, guys. You see, even Reg's fragility to lose her, in the case she's saying, okay, now I will go because I have to explore by myself, I have to learn, etc., etc. Reg is petrified and is afraid to lose her, because he's saying, does that mean that you don't join? Of course she's saying, I will think about it. It means yes. But I think that in that moment Faputa needed another confirmation, another moment in which she could trust Reg this time, for the last time. Yeah, Faputa is a type of character that always needs confirmations, otherwise she's not stepping forward. But even when she's waiting for Reg to say something and Reg is giving her his hand, marvelous, because part of the promise was, I want to hold your hand forever and to go on adventure with you forever, always together. Amazing. I really liked even the moment in which Faputa is reaching Riko, and she's saying, now I know your duty. Your duty is to cherish all the people you meet, all the beings you are encountering in the abyss. I agree. I mean, Riko's duty is this, and by having this duty, listen to these guys, this is my idea, but by having this immense duty, she can help all the encounters, I mean Riko, can help all the encounters to become immortal. Because by the way in which she keeps remembering them, or no matter if they are dead or not, she keeps remembering them, right? And I'm pretty sure that when she will climb up the abyss, she will narrate all this. She will maybe write a book, or she will write something as a testimony of everything that she has experienced. That means that all the encounters that she made will always live through memory. And it means to become immortal. Even Vasukian, who wanted to become someone beyond human, yeah, now he can. Thanks to Riko, he will, because until Riko remembers him, he will be immortal. The same as for Prushka, the same as for Weko, the same as for all the other hollows. They are living inside the Riko's heart, the Riko's memories. And even Prushka, absolutely. Even Bondorudo, look, Bondorudo, who tried his best to be the almighty being, controlling all these hollows and be so proud of himself. There's nothing better than becoming immortal thanks to others' memories. And I liked that Faputa said something like this because Prushka told her. I think Prushka and Faputa will have a great relationship even later. All of these characters together have an ability that the others don't. So this team is becoming really complete, as if it's an ultimate team in which inside you have all components that are different. And it's like the accumulation thing that I told you before, what Vasukian was saying. You need an accumulation of things to create this perfect being, or to create this ability to reach the goal, right? All of them are different, and all of them have different experiences, and all of them can give to the team something that others don't have. So this is the ultimate team. That's the team who will make it for sure, who will reach the bottom of the abyss, who will disclose all the mystery of the abyss. And wow, can't wait. And Faputa is also admitting that Reg is that Reg, it's her Reg, because of Riko, because of Riko's kindness, because of Riko's presence. Reg remembered at least that he is a kind person. And she is grateful to Riko. I told you that in the previous episode. At the end of the day, Faputa will thank Riko for everything that happened. And I was sure about that. And I'm sure now more than ever, because without Riko, Faputa couldn't have been released. So we all have to thank Riko. Thank you so much, Riko. Now we are approaching the last sentences of the episode. That they are unbelievable, in my opinion. Because now we understand what Faputa is. Faputa is a light in darkness, thanks to everything that happened. And you see even that she has some golden tones here. So it's gold. She is also seen as this red light in darkness. Guys, this is so meaningful. I mean, to me, it's so symbolic. The red light, red because it's warm, red because it's like the fire that she was supposed to be. Do you remember that I told you that this fire could have been used in another way, not the way she thought? The fire of destruction versus the fire of a creation, the fire of a protection as a shelter, the fire of the light of hope, right? And you understand that Irumyui created Faputa to be the light of darkness of this team that now have to face the bottom of the abyss. So till now, they have never had a light in their team. They need a light, like a flashlight or whatever. The flashlight they need is Faputa, who is immortal and who is shining in darkness. She's the only one who can shine in darkness because she experienced darkness and she survived from darkness. And at the same time, it's their light, because now that we are reaching the bottom of the abyss, where darkness is the most important theme, we need to focus on a light. We need not to forget that in all darkness possible, there is always a light. And that's what Irumyui wanted. to be a light in darkness, not just for Weko, but even as a principle that could be installed even in Faputa when she was born. This fire that she thought that she was not the fire that Irumyu wanted her to become. The real fire is the fire to help others, the fire to guide others, as much as Irumyu was guiding the Genja group with a torch of a fire, do you remember? She now has to be that fire, and it will be different. This time they will not use her, and she will not make the same mistakes of her mom, because now she collected all the memories of her mom, all she did, why she did that she will never repeat the same destiny, because they are two different things, two different beings. That's why I'm saying that Faputa is the real gold. When we reached the Golden City, we thought something else, but the real gold, it's Faputa. Because Riko, Reg, and Nanachi found their treasure. To reach the bottom of the abyss, they need the light. And that light that now is disappearing, I mean the light that they are surrounded by, is essential to proceed, right? But if you don't have it anymore, it's like as if you're searching a treasure. It's like as if you're searching desperately to gold. Gold is shining, right? As much as she is. Why she can personify gold? It's also because gold represents experiences achieved. Gold is the treasure that you have treasured in your life. That means experiences. The more you make experiences, the more you become precious, the more you become a treasure for others, but even a treasure for yourself, because you are experiencing, you are growing, you are becoming more mature, you are knowing yourself more without being afraid. Because if you're afraid to encounter your fears, remember that there is the fire in your heart, the light in your heart that tells you that you're not alone, that you have to face the troubles in your life, otherwise you will not be able to proceed. And by facing these troubles, you grow, you experience, you become more precious. That is gold. So this adventure that Riko is giving the possibility to Faputa to have is an immense treasure that Faputa has to take with herself and be jealous of. This opportunity that Riko is giving to her is the same opportunity that we were talking about last week. That means the ability to know the unknown. Finally, Faputa started understanding about some unknown things, about Reg, about her mom, but now there is all the rest to know. So she really needed this opportunity, and this opportunity was given by Riko. That's why she has to be thankful to her, and it's a thanks to Riko that she will grow, she will be modified by experiences, and she will become like a diamond that is that when the more it's modified, the more is shining, the more is precious. That's gold. The real gold is this, in my opinion. And even the last sentence that it's said, love can be a curse. Yes, it can be. Because when you are attracted by someone and you decided to dedicate your life to that person, it might become a curse because of all the sadness you may feel when you are not understood by the other one, when you are feeling that there are lots of misunderstandings, love is not just feeling great, but it's even feeling so bad that you want to dig a hole for yourself, right? It could be a curse, yes, definitely, because love, it's not certain, it's not a guarantee that everything you will experience will be great, but it deserves the will to proceed and experience love, because even love can help you developing part of what you are, can modify little by little parts of your personality that you don't even imagine, as much as there are even paths that can lead you to darkness. But If you have that light, you will never lose light. You will always make it somehow. Okay guys, now we understood that Faputa is joining them, and from now on she will be essential because she will spread that golden light, or this warm and dark light that darkness needs in order to be seen. And I wanted to thank you so much for the support. This season was a great journey. I really loved it. I really put my heart on this, and I can't wait that season 3 is coming, even if I think that it will take quite a long time, because now I think that they reached the manga, more or less. So it will take a little bit of time, but I can wait, because this story deserves a lot. And as much as I was telling you at the beginning of the episode, by closing the circle, I still recommend this story. Please watch it. Try to step on your fears and go against your limits. Try to face them and to overcome them. That's what this story is telling you. So I think that even if you think that this story can be really cruel and can make you cry a lot, try it, because you can find yourself in this story too. And it's really deep, really emotional. It's a journey. And by being an adventure, it can be your gold. Thank you so much for the support, guys. See you in other videos coming on the channel, and see you in the next video.